In the light of some recent increase in customer complaints, because we want to increase our customer satisfaction scores, this session is being put on for all of the drivers across the branch to just make sure that you feel supported when it comes to dealing with difficult conversations on doorsteps. So thank you for coming today. The learning objectives, which I sent to you by email, are also up here on the whiteboard, and if you need to look at them or you want to have a look at them during the session, please feel free to do so. This is meant to be a relaxed session. No one's being tested at the end of it. This is really about us exploring how we have those conversations, and for me to provide a model. These are the learning objectives. So I'll just go through them again with you just to make sure they're clear in your mind. So the first one is to identify common causes of customer complaints or customer dissatisfaction, which I'm sure, as you've been here for a little while, you know what some of those might be. Describe appropriate communication techniques and professional behaviours for managing difficult customer interactions. So being able to talk about, well, what would you do in those situations. We're going to be doing some practical role plays, so looking at how to applying active listening and empathy skills, and also to be able to demonstrate conflict resolution. I know that it's very rare that we get very serious confrontations, but there are times where I know people have felt threatened or felt vulnerable, so this is a really good opportunity to practice being able to cope in those, manage in those situations. And then at the end, I'll ask you just to evaluate your own communication approach and propose one improvement for your future delivery. But before we dive into today's session, I want to share a story with you. It's a story about customer service, but from a customer's perspective. So when I used to live in Laos, it feels like many years ago now, my kids and I used to come home every summer, and we would always buy all the clothes and all the food things that we couldn't get over there. And then when we returned to Laos, our suitcases would be brimming with all of our goodies, but they were things, but they were our little comforts from home. Anyway, we were flying out of Heathrow, and when we arrived, the airport was in chaos. The baggage conveyor belts had broken down, and this meant that then there were queues and queues of people not knowing what they were supposed to do. The queues were snaking around the terminal, and after a couple of hours of getting hot and tired and frustrated and having arguments with other people in the queues, an airport member of staff came over and said, "It's okay, just leave your bags here in the departure hall and go straight to your gate. We'll sort them out, your bags will get there." But what really upset me and made me feel frustrated and angry was the fact that nobody would take responsibility. Nobody ever said, I'm sorry that you've had to go through this. And that just, I was having to go to the airport every day to find out whether my bags were arriving. So, and I think, whoever's fault it was, it doesn't matter whose fault it was, I just wanted to hear someone say they were sorry about it. But that never happened. But it did make me think differently about, what I was going to put in my luggage in the future. Have you ever had any worse customer service experiences? Anything that you think, oh, that's something? It took me a long time to think of that one, actually. I think I've had quite good customer service in most of my dealings, but anyone had a terrible scenario that's happened to them?
I wouldn't say terrible, and it's certainly not stressful as that. I've had a not good experience with a mobile phone operator about being missold a phone.
Yeah.
And then going through that process of trying to recoup the expense of it and the time you invest in it. And I don't think it was ever resolved properly, so I've never gone back to that mobile service provider.
But yeah, it's that kind of, the frustration and the time that you invest, And this is really what today's session is all about. It's looking at, as delivery drivers, you may not always be responsible for things that go wrong. In fact, probably most of the time you aren't responsible. So, substitutions, delays.
But we are the face of Waitrose.
But we are the face of Waitrose, absolutely, Peter. And it's how you handle it that makes all the difference. So it's not about you sort of passing the blame, and it's about you kind of taking responsibility on behalf of the company you work for. And it's not, customers don't just remember what happened, what went wrong, they remember how you made them feel. And I think that's the key thing. We're going to have a look at how we can turn a difficult doorstep moment into a positive experience. even when the issue isn't your fault. There are several modules that we can use to have these conversations when we're faced with complaints. That will hopefully result in a happier customer and more positive experience. So I'm going to hand you a system. They're the key steps to a system. It's called the LAST system, because hopefully there'll be no more, because this is the best one. The LAST system, which is brought to you by the Customer Service Collection. And they have a brilliant website all about handling customer complaints. So I'm going to give you each a copy of the key steps. Now, as you can see, I haven't actually told you what the steps are, because I reckon that you guys already probably know what the steps are, because you inherently do this already in your work. So, first of all, I just want you to take 20 seconds, and I want you to think just on your own, what do you think those letters stand for, and then you're going to come together and discuss it. Okay, right, so have time to think?
Yeah.
Yes, great, okay. So, I want you now to discuss between you, and I want you to come back to me in a moment and tell me what you think the 4 letters stand for.
Alistair, what do you think L stands for?
So this is a complaint on the doorstep, is it?
Yeah, so these are the keys. This is a model. This is a model that we can use as drivers when we're dealing with complaints. So you're faced with a customer, they're complaining about something, so then we use the LAST system. So what, in that scenario, what do you think L stands for?
Listen.
Sounds like a reasonable approach.
Sounds like you've kind of come to a bit of an answer. All right, so let's start with the first one, which is
Listen.
listen. Yes, you're absolutely right. When a customer is dissatisfied, their immediate need is just for someone to listen to them. Okay, which will
I think when you're at the doorstep, you've got to what's the right word?
Empathise.
Show that you are interested,
Yeah.
and look at them while they're talking, and instead of just carrying on with your delivery
Yeah.
and they're talking.
Yeah.
To listen,
Stop.
to stop and listen to them. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you are listening, but you're not listening. If you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah, and I think what that looks like then, so that's a really good point you just made there, Keith. What does that actually look and sound like if you're actually listening then? So Keith's saying you look interested, so that means stopping what you're doing. What else does it mean?
I think it's a lot of body language.
Face to
It's like
face.
eye contact, doing what you're doing, which is nodding,
Yeah.
and it's sort of making them feel that you're genuinely interested
Yeah.
in what they're saying.
Yeah.
And maybe part of that would be linking into the A is, asking some more questions, maybe a few more probing questions, better understand, which again would show that you are actually listening to what they're saying, as opposed to just the passive listening and moving on.
Yeah. So asking questions and paraphrasing what they just said, so that you're repeating, so they know that you've actually listened. Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, what about your A's? What do you think your A was?
I thought it was ask questions.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. But it's actually in this system, it's apologise. So the first thing you do, so you might ask questions, like you say, in the listening stage. So you've already asked questions. The theory behind it, the research behind it is that even if you don't agree with the customer or you've got a justification, you must apologise so that they understand that you're sorry, that they feel the way that they, because at the end of the day it's all about feelings, and it's about I'm not going to say pandering to those feelings, but it's about making them first of all deal with the feelings. So I'm really sorry that you've been made to feel this way. Not, I'm really sorry you feel this way, because what's the difference between I'm really sorry you feel this way and I'm really sorry you've been made to feel this way?
Well, the second one sounds like we're taking more ownership of the
Yeah.
problem. I think maybe the difference is as well, we're not actually saying it's our fault. We're just recognising that they do feel aggrieved about something.
Yeah.
So we're not saying, Waitrose has let you down, we're just saying we understand that you feel that you've been let down.
Because there is a fine line, especially if there's a legal implication as well. Because you don't want to be taking responsibility for something or saying, yes, we're at fault, when actually it could then mean that there's some legal action that follows. Okay, what's your S?
Well, I think summarise. But you think?
Well, no, I originally thought summarise, but at some point, we want to solve. So I think it's one or the other. I'm not sure which. If it were me, I would want to summarise, so that they would. they
So
know that we've got to that
Yeah.
understanding.
And again, that kind of goes in with your active listening, where you're paraphrasing, you're kind of summarising what they've said. So we've kind of summarised the bit in the listening and the apologising, but it's actually solution. So solve, solution. So
Yeah, you
you're
did.
absolutely right. You said the solution, didn't you? Solve.
Yeah.
So obviously, some solutions are quite hard to find as delivery drivers, depending on what the complaint is. And that really does come a lot with experience. But if you've got a system where you're working through it, okay, listen, apologise, let's see. And if you don't know what the solution is, you then say that you'll go and find the solution, as opposed to leaving them hanging without any kind of, yeah, absolutely. And then team. Okay, so we have the model, and we've had a few theories behind the model. But like all great actors, we need to feel rehearsed before we get onto the stage. So now's your chance to play one of your customers, and I will attempt to demonstrate how the last system might work in practice. And those of you that are watching, one of you can be the customer, you can be one of your customers, pick any one, but let's not have names. So if you're watching, I want you to say, what did you observe, what went well, what could be improved. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm necessarily going to do this perfectly, so you might need to pick up on some things that I do wrong. So, right, do you want to come up?
Yes,
come up here and be the
absolutely.
customer
Yes,
over here?
yes.
Right, okay, right, and I'll come with your, it's a shame I haven't got a prop. Anyway, I'll come with your... Hello, Mr. Smith, how are you?
I'm a little bit frustrated actually.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Why are you
Yeah.
frustrated?
Well, you're late. Again.
Absolutely.
I mean, it wasn't you last time, but it was Waitrose, and I've got a very important meeting to go to. Very important.
Yeah, that's not acceptable. Now, I completely understand, and I'm very sorry that you're being made to be late for things, and that's not on. Would you like me to come back? Would you like me to help you deliver, to get your shopping out now?
No, I can unload it really quickly myself. It's just I've had to wait around.
What, as a delivery driver, did I do well? What could I do to improve? What my response to Mr. Smith's complaint?
Well, you didn't find out how late we were.
Okay.
Late,
But was that part of the last system? So think
You
about,
better be able to
did I
check.
listen? Did I apologise? Did I try and come up with a solution? Did I thank him?
Yes, you did.
I did.
And the thing that you didn't do was offer the £4 delivery charge back, which is what I would have done.
That's a really good point, Peter. Yeah, I could have done that. That could have been another solution. I don't know how happy with that made you feel.
I mean, I think there was probably an opportunity to probe a little bit more about the impact of being late on the customer. I mean, I know it's been a bit awkward, but I think what you did, on the flip side of that, I think what you did do really well was the solution management, which was about the communication back into the branch, and then making sure that, in this case, your line manager would be in contact. And I think that left the customer feeling more positive about about the fact that they'd have to cancel the appointment, and so
Absolutely.
But I could see the process. I could see you using the process.
Yes,
As the customer,
yeah.
and you can see how I could see how it starts to diffuse the situation.
Yeah. Obviously, I want to give you an opportunity to have a go at doing this yourself. So we've got 3 different categories: easy, moderate, and hard. And depending on how much you want to challenge yourself today, I want you each to pick one scenario, and you're going to take it in turns to be the customer, the delivery driver, and the observer. Okay?
Role play.
All right. So there are some questions up here that might help you with your scenarios. What emotions might the customer be feeling? How could you respond in a way that shows empathy, professionalism? What words or phrases? So help each other to find the solution. So,
Rachel, just to clarify, are we going to play the customer or the delivery driver in
your own one. In your own one, you're playing the delivery driver.
Right.
Do you want me to?
Let's have a go at doing it.
Yeah, let's do
Well,
it.
then you two do it then.
Okay. What am I?
Well, I'm the customer.
Oh, right.
You'll be the delivery driver.
Okay.
I've noticed that you've got no milk. Where's my milk? I can't have a cup of tea.
Let me just go through your items for you. I'll just unpack it all for you and just double check that there is no milk in there.
I can see there's no milk.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Let me just check my handset to see what the issue would be. Yes, it says there's no milk in here, as you say. Really sorry there's no milk, but have you ticked the substitution box to ask for a substitution for the milk that's missing?
I haven't.
I'm really sorry, there's not a lot that we can do. If the customer doesn't tick the substitution box, we can't substitute something that's not there without your permission. So all I can do is apologise. I think that it's a fault with you not ticking the substitution box though, which doesn't enable the shopper to put the substitution in.
Thank you. Give him a little clap. Well done. So, Alistair, do you want to just give some feedback to
Yes, absolutely.
Peter and his
Yes, I will give some feedback to Peter. I thought it was a very nice introduction at Waitrose, and would you like me to bring it in, which was helpful. It felt, Peter, like it was maybe a little bit confrontational quite early on.
But at the end of the day, it's the customer's fault.
Well, maybe the customer didn't understand the substitution process. So maybe that could be an option to ask some questions about, do you understand the substitution process? And then you'll still get into the same result, which is if they do want substitutions, they're going to tick the box in the future, but you've done it in a way that enables them to feel they've learned about the process.
But I think you stayed calm. Like I think I agree with Alistair that it did kind of get to the point where it was almost felt like it was going to be confrontational. But I think you stayed calm and you pulled back from that. And that calm tone did help to diffuse eventually that situation. No, I just wanted to say that that's the professionalism is exactly what we want to see. We're aiming for at Waitrose, and keep using that same calm approach, Peter, because I think it's a real strength. Because you are very good at explaining things, and I think if you'd gone further into explaining how he could tick that substitution box, that would have been perfect. So for anyone wanting to dig deeper into this subject, I actually have a workbook which comes from the same company that the last system comes from, which kind of just gives you a bit more information about the theory behind the steps and different phrases you could use. So it's quite useful. What would you say were the key things that you need to think about when dealing with those customer complaints? What's the big picture? How do you show up to those kind of conversations?
You've got to show interest, that you're interested. Well, you've got to show that it's important. They think it's important to them. You might not think it's important, but you haven't got to show that.
One, like you say, Keith, one calm, respectful interaction with a customer can really change their day. And so what's one thing, I just want you to think of one thing that you're going to do differently on your next delivery route. Just want you each to just come up with one thing that you think, I'm going to do this differently next week or next route, and I want you to tell someone else in the room one thing you've learned from them today, not me. So Alistair, what have you learned from someone else in the group today?
I've learned it's probably not a good idea to blame people.
That's a great one. Yeah. Yes. Peter, what about you?
I think that we should appreciate that sometimes the customer doesn't see anyone from day to day, and we're their point of contact. And
so what are you going to do differently?
I'm going to be much more tolerant as a result of Alistair's feedback.
And Keith, what about you?
Well, I think you've got to. I think you've got to realise that the customer's always right. Really.
Oh, there you go. Well, we're not saying that the customer's always
well,
right.
No,
we're saying we should care about how they feel. We should show that we care about how they feel, because it's important.
Yeah, and what they say is right. You can't, because if you go down the road of saying they're not, then you're not going to solve the problem. No. So I think that you've got to say what they say is right or true, and then you've got to. That's how I.
You could come unstuck there if there's legal implications. That's what I was saying earlier about don't apologise. Don't if it's something that is actually could then imply that we're legally going to have to they'll take us to court because we've whatever it is we've done. Going forwards, I suggest that you record maybe one real customer interaction where you've used your skills you've learned today, or not learned, but you've practiced today, and share it with each other when you see each other next. And thank you for your honesty, thank you for sharing, thank you for being a part of this. I just wanted to finish by saying, remember, customers may forget what went wrong with their delivery, but they will never forget how you made them feel. You have the power to turn a problem into a positive story every